right, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come to present to you our final series of this second week of HGC China. And it's going to be none other than not C, we just had those guys, TheOne versus SPT Techer. Isn't that a highlight to finish things off with?
It's a pretty good highlight. We had our rematch, our second rematch, obviously it's double rotation, of our finals of the previous season, where TheOne, first seed for the entire phase, did in the end get taken out by SPT.
That is correct. The SPT team, the super perfect team, they are now in a weird situation in which they actually entered this best of two as a slight underdog, simply due to their wonky recent results, right? And TheOne, on the other hand, they're looking mighty good. They're looking stronger and stronger. They're actually quite the opposite of Beyond the Game. At the beginning, we were like, is this really the one we recognize? And now they've become stronger and stronger.
Indeed, they have. Right now, we see TheOne sitting at 16 points, SPT at 13. SPT, here's a mind-blowing fact for you, are currently in the bottom half of the table. That is how interestingly things have been going for SPT up to this point. And as such, if they get a 2-0, SPT, they will tie with TheOne. If TheOne get a 2-0, they will overtake Beyond the Game and move into first place.
Yeah.
If it's a 1-1, then Super Perfect Team will join RPG and CE in a tied third place, and TheOne will keep a solid second.
So this is without a doubt one of the most important matches that SPT has had to, enter here in HGC China up to this point, because as you said, if they were to lose 0-2, not only would they lose track of all those other teams that are getting dangerously close to BTG, but also more importantly, RPG, for the first time ever, they would have overtaken them, which would have been such an upset. So crazy.
Here is TheOne. Keshi, their new player, has slowly been fitting in better and better. And as such, TheOne have been getting better and better. And on the other side, SPT, though, no roster changes here. They are back and they are looking to avenge themselves for their little bit of a struggling series earlier versus the A-team.
And Techer, if we, if we talk about SPT here a little bit, we're currently looking quite the opposite of Super Perfect. What would you say is the difficulty? What is their struggle at the moment? What is the one thing that they can't seem to overcome?
It's an excellent question. If I had to think about it, I actually just don't know. I think it's just meta issues. They seem to be struggling to adjust to this particular meta, whereas everyone in China is slowly adjusting either into more aggression or slowly learning the more global macro style, whereas SPT is still sort of stuck in the middle.
And I think one of the major issues right now, I never thought I would say that for SPT right now, is Misaka. You see him right here, labeled as the key player. And not always does a key player have to, have a positive effect on his fellow teammates. Sometimes when the key player is misperforming or underperforming, whatever you want to call it, then the rest of that team is going to get dragged down alongside with him. And I think his decision-making just wasn't really spot on. Oftentimes you would see him get burst down immediately in a team fight because he A, didn't land skill shots, or B, was too far away from his teammates to save him.
Here we're going to see a Cursed Hollow game coming in from TheOne. Also, just as a reminder to people who were not here earlier when we announced it, the Team Nut versus RPG game will not be taking place due to Malthael coming down with a sudden illness. They have decided to abstain from the game, and as such, RPG were basically given a 2-0 over Team Nut, which is why RPG are so high up in the table. But I'm going to be honest, from the performance RPG put on earlier, I think that is quite possibly the likely result anyway.
I think so too. In their current state, I don't think Team Nut would have probably stood much of a chance here. Speedy recovery to Malthael, but don't feed him souls there in the hospital or at the doctors. Whatever you try to do.
Maybe you should. They heal him.
Maybe. Give it to the hero, not the human person, though.
That is fair. That is fair. Humans, one soul per person, please. As we are seeing the Deckard Cain and Reyna starting off for TheOne as SPT. They already have that Hanzo.
Right. Cursed Hollow, we see a Hanzo immediately being deployed. I like that quite a bit. There's quite a lot of walls and terrain for him to use his scatter arrow to great efficiency. Also, it's a lucky favorite. Definitely true. And we see Misaka, you know, adapt a little bit. We talked about them, SPT being stuck somewhere in an ancient meta, if you will. And, you know, with Anubarak coming into China and in having a great win rate, actually, 66.7, that might be the go-to recipe for SPT to really turn this around.
And so, the role gets banned away. Makes sense. They don't want someone to just harass that Hanzo in the backline or be a good root tool for the Anubarak, forcing a burrow out when you don't need it. Instead, they get even more CC in the form of Blaze and the Garrosh coming in here.
Yeah, more slows for Raynor with that ace in the hole. Blaze and that oil spill can definitely work out in that. Even Garrosh later on will have his own source of slows. Now, supports are still left available. I didn't really enjoy ZZH's white main earlier when we saw it. Looked a little helpless here and there, was locked down by Diablo multiple times, and as a result, we see his comfort pick. His Doge has been deployed. Wrecker in the mix.
I mean, this is reasonable. It has a cleanse. It's got reasonable amounts of healing. Ancestral could be pretty dope in terms of sustain, especially onto someone like Cassia, who's obviously going to benefit more from it due to the physical armor.
Correct. Very true. The only thing he needs to be kind of on the lookout for is, of course, that anti-healing granted by Decker Cane and the Emerald Cube, right? If that one goes down while the Ancestral Healing is casted on that same target, a lot of the healing value might be wasted. But, you know, that's only one ability, and you should normally be able to time that quite well. But it could happen. It could happen. Now, Hugo, you can see him here on your screens, and his boys, they're gearing up. This is for both teams. A very, very important series. If SPT wins this, they're finally going to not only just get over this crisis they're currently in, but they're also going to get some valuable points. If TheOne wins this, they're going to be first place.
Yes, they will. This is going to be great news for TheOne if they are able to take this. But, like we said, SPT, they need these points. They've got to get back into that third place. They've got to get up and close to TheOne, to SPT, to BTG again, as BTG is still sneaking away at the top of the table, sneaking map after map.
Super cool. And I'm just so happy to see this first game go down on Cursed Hollow as well, because it's kind of like in China, it's this neutral battleground. Both teams, or all the teams in China, have sort of come to this gentleman's agreement of not playing a whole lot on this battleground. So it's like almost we start from scratch, we start from new. So we don't really know who's practiced this map more, who's got the better strategy. Let's find out as we go to Cursed Hollow.
And ladies and gentlemen, spawning on the left-hand side of Cursed Hollow, it is going to be TheOne. And playing for them, it is going to be Hugo, Kieshi, Meng, ZJZ, and Hehe.
Facing them is the Super Perfect team, represented by Lucky, Melody C, Misaka, Soap, and ZZH. And they're here to finally reclaim their honor. They are the reigning champions of China. However, unfortunately for them, this current phase hasn't really gone their way. Sometimes, as Tetcher said earlier, sometimes the meta shifts, it changes, and you're the ones to adapt the most slowly. Well, you're going to not do so well in the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, you got to be able to try and sneak away those wins and try and adjust with the meta. Speaking of sneaking, we see Hehe able to sneak away as he gets ganked very heavily, dropped to half health. But he is fine for the moment. Builds at level 1, we are seeing the Lightning Fury coming in for Cassia and an Exterminator for Raynor.
Yep, Exterminator, of course, is not only good against minion waves and such, but also it's great against bosses later on if you happen, to have the need of burning them down much more quickly. Remember, there is a Hanzo on the enemy team, and Hanzo still the fastest PvE clear in the game, so oftentimes when you take too long to take your own boss, in that case probably in the bottom for TheOne, you actually risk getting invaded simply because SPT will have built up so much momentum. So fighting PvE with your own PvP is oftentimes a really solid recipe.
So now then, SPT, they have already started their Siege Giant camp, but the exact same for TheOne. Both these teams mirroring each other in kind. And no XP is currently being lost, as Cassia does make it back into mid lane in time to soak any of that might have been missed.
Yep. Cassia, speaking of her, she was in a little bit of a pinch here, but thanks to her trade, thanks to that physical armor, Raynor doesn't even scratch her all too much. CZH, one of the few supports on Rhaegar that can actually clear mercenary camps with great ease all by himself. Other supports that can maybe do it as quickly are Karazim because of his great single target damage, but I think that's about it.
There comes the Bruiser Camp. This time it's a little early for the one. SPT not even trying for theirs, but Misaka has spotted this. Now the question is, will reinforcements come in for this invade?
They're all moving.
They even forced the leash. It's still not healed yet, but you can see that second leash, one more leash, and it will heal back to full. Looks like they're just going to let it heal anyway. Yeah,
but they're not letting go all entirely. The one here, they've realized, you know, if SPT is wasting all that time, if they're just, you know, not doing anything else in lane, they're going to lose a little bit of soak here. But by the same token, SPT, they're making sure that they have enough heroes left in every single lane. Dahaka coming in from nowhere, gets tossed out of that platform, though. Get lost, mates.
But it's still a 4 versus 3 in favor of SPT. They take down the Decade Kane, pushing forward, looking for Keshi or Hehe. Keshi will be the target, and that's going to be a quick blow-up, looking for Hehe as well. So, has to use the burrow. He will have drag soon. They've got the Bruiser Camp to tank the fort, so they can keep diving here. And will be taken out. That's a triple kill. Go over to SPT, and look where they are. Right next to this tribute, which means they're going to get that as well.
Just, you know, a trip around the world of Curse Hollow and just perfectly going well for them. The Beatles and the Mercenaries actually intercepting the fortress so they could just dive for in all the time they wanted to have here. Tribute goes over to SPT as well. What a way to start this series, Tetcher. And I was already wondering where Li Ming was at because she was still chilling in the bottom lane. So theoretically, she should have been there just as fast as Cassia. But I think what happened was the one they underestimated SPT. I don't think they thought they would fully commit to this.
I think you are right. But as such, though, Hugo is now just soaking up top lane as SPT, despite the triple kill, are actually not that much further ahead in terms of experience. They will still hit level 7 first, but the one good crisis management were able to soak some more experience.
Yeah, and that's really, like, that alone is a picture-perfect example of showing you guys how much experience minions are going to provide you with compared to getting hero kills, right? A triple kill, as Tetra said, and the mercenary camp could barely make up for 1 or 2 minion waves that they lost because of it, because of that gank. And Li Ming stayed in the bottom in time enough, so she was able to soak it all up here.
Push continues to come in as the Bruiser Camp will get locked down. With SPT in control, they don't get that much pushing. Misaka with a very easy burrow out. There's no taunt available yet, so there was no follow-up CC with the Scroll of Sealing also already being used.
Yeah, already we can see Meng. Or is Meng on? No, it is Keshi, right? On Raynor? No, Keshi. Yeah. Oh, yep, there he is. There we go. Keshi already going for a slightly different build. And here we go. Dahaka says hello again. Deja vu. Gank on Mercenary Camp number 2.
That is aggressive. Keshi heals up with the Fight or Flight, gains the armor, and it looks like they're just going to let him go and take the camp instead.
Yeah, but the Mercenary Camp was stolen, so that is most certainly a win for SPT. Yeah. Yet again, they make sure that they keep the one occupied and steal a lot of value away from them. Already immediately, they're going on for their boss. Look at the one's positioning. They're all scattered all over the map. Speaking of scattering, that scatter shot is so useful when it comes to dealing with bosses.
They might get this. Assuming Hugo doesn't interrupt them, they are going to kill this with 10 seconds left. So that means they now have 10 seconds to get to the bottom lane, to the middle of the map. Dahaka's already here. If he could delay once somehow with a tongue over the wall or something, then SPT might be able to delay this. Quick toss onto Dahaka though, and Anubarak will not get in range in time. Instead, they look for Hehe, but the tribute has already been taken. Not able to get all the marbles there.
No Under King at level 4 means no increased range on your burrow charge, and in that case, that made all the difference. Otherwise, Anubarak would have been able to stun and slow Garrosh for the time being, which would have posed to be a little bit of a problem for Hehe, potentially. So for now, this bottom boss was actually left alone for now because they prioritized the final tribute a little higher, and rightfully so, because you know, preventing that curse from going down was definitely more important. And as it is, look at that. I don't know how the one are doing it, but they're just soaking to perfection almost. Still almost exactly even in experience despite being so many kills and objectives down.
Moving in, isolation. Dragon Arrow is dodged somehow without the vision. Indomitable dropped and able to escape. Nicely done there.
Honestly, I think at this point, someone told Huho where to move, because he was in no condition to actually spot that one.
I mean, there's nothing stopping him just looking at his teammate's monitor. There is absolutely nothing stopping him doing that if that was something he needed to do. If the other person is looking at where he is, he can see the Dragon Arrow come out and could have used that to move.
All right. Anyway, cool move. Nonetheless, you know, it's not always easy to dodge things when you're blinded and silenced by the Dahaka isolation. And without Huho dying, that means they have 5 members potentially assembled. Li Ming, though, is dangerously late to this fight. Tetra only now is Meng on his way to join his teammates, so they're going to have to do a mighty good job stalling their opponents away from taking this.
Li Ming has only just started moving up to here as well, so Hanzo will take a quick pause on the way here to begin clearing out the Bruiser camp that was snuck away by TheOne, and that allows Meng to arrive first here, as Hanzo, lucky, also is now here for his team. They move up, tongue from Dahaka, does not land, quick knock up onto Soba, isolation onto Reina though, but he's already fight or flight to disintegrate onto the Cocoon, and TheOne. They're able to retreat using the Tornado, but a quick blow up on Reina thanks to Hanzo.
Was Bunker interrupted there? I don't know what happened. Yeah, it's used now. So something must have interrupted him from casting it because it was still on a mini cooldown, and I don't think when he used it before. Anywho, the lack of Bunker made sure that Reina died, and TheOne is losing the team fight.
And as such, SPT, they take control of that middle lane. They're going to be able to move in through this, or they might rotate for more forts here.
And at the end of this curse duration, they might actually be able to steal away that boss as well on the side of TheOne. With that Hanzo mercenary clear speed, you know, Rhaegar, just the 2 of those. Just the 2 of them, I think, are actually enough to steal this away, while Dahaka could maintain some top pressure here, for example. A Nubrak in the bottom, also granting vision and distracting the opposing team. So yeah, I love the way SPT is playing this maximum efficiency here. That stun over the wall was not perfectly executed, but Misaka doesn't take any damage whatsoever anyways.
We do see it is still a risky boss. Garrosh could try and steal this with Dahaka coming in from the side. Misaka actually stays a little bit too long.
All right. It's starting to go from bad to worse here, unfortunately, for TheOne. They seem to be losing grip over this game. That curse is now over. All the keeps are still standing, but there's a big, mean boss pushing in with the members of SPT. They're very much committed and determined to make this first keep theirs.
SPT moving forward with this boss. Like you said, front wall already taking a little bit of damage. Boss burns through that very quickly. Good scroll to ceiling. A little bit of extra harassment. As down go the first towers.
Now, were the defensive measures here coming in from TheOne? They do have a Tornado to keep the enemy heroes at bay, but I think it might actually be wiser to give up this defensive measure. Oh, there goes Dahaka, landing a good tongue.
The Tornado, Dahaka is absolutely going to get ruined unless this Dragon Arrow into the engage of Cassia drops everyone low, but they only get a single kill onto Garrosh. But now they've got a super isolated Blaze. They even silence him to make sure there's nothing he can do, and they take down the keep.
They take down the keep and retreat because they realize, you know what, 20 seconds on just the front line is not enough for us to finish the core. Our damage isn't strong enough yet. They still have Li Ming, which with resets could always tear down our assault pretty handsomely. So they played safely here, but let's take another look at that team fight. Look at Dahaka. If they get the kill there onto him, that is a different team fight. But Soap, with lightning reflexes there towards the end, is burrowing in, using his essence to heal as well. And during all of this, Hugo was wrapped in a cocoon, and I think that's exactly how he was prevented from using Bunker in that earlier team fight. I think it was a cocoon.
And as such, we do see the move in of SPT with a keep already down, a tribute already up. TheOne making an aggressive move across the map. They suspected SPT were doing the boss due to the Hanzo clear speed, and they weren't that far off. It's just it was the Bruiser camp next to the boss. And it looks like SPT are going to be happy to give up this tribute.
Yeah, they don't really mind that tribute, right? As you said, it doesn't really change anything, but here goes TheOne. Even talents, 13-15. Melody C in trouble.
LEC, though, is beginning to turn around, gets taunted. Dragon Arrow is whiffed here. The Cocoon on Blaze once again, but he has Bunker. Misaka comes in. He's on the point, trying to hold it, but Lornado steals the boss.
Oh, the root onto a Nubarak actually causes him to fall, and the resets are popping off.
The Melody C, focus down. Your physical armor doesn't save you against Calamity. As TheOne pick up the triple kill. And Dahaka, he came up to help his team instead of grabbing that tribute. So now this is going to be a boss with Siege Giants already in top lane to empower it. And a second tribute. TheOne one step closer to that curse.
CZH in trouble, though, if he gets stunned by Hugo.
He should leave. Like I said, TheOne will get this tribute.
Yeah, just don't waste time here. Don't die. Don't go for scattered depths anymore. But as you said, not full momentum here. Not full momentum for TheOne. They had to have someone defend this bottom lane, which would have otherwise certainly cracked the core to pieces here with catapults and double siege giants. For now, though, they put a stop to the bleeding, and they have fully caught up in experience. 16 is here now for TheOne. If they execute those fights again like they did just now, they're not out of this game by any means.
Yeah, but that keep stands very tall, and that is going to be an issue for TheOne. Yeah, they've opened it up, but they use Siege Giants, the boss, and, well, getting a triple kill to even get that far, that is bad news for them. As they are, like you said, though, even on experience, they can now fight in an even situation with every heroic up 10 seconds until Rainers, and that's the only one they have to wait for, but SPT are in the same boat.
Yeah, right now, just ignore that tribute. It's in a much better location for SPT anyways. It's in their half of the map. They could have actually sieged up there. They still have a fort and a healing fountain in the middle just in case the fight gets dragged out a little longer. So there's virtually no reason for TheOne to actually go there in the first place. Instead, I love what Meng is doing there in the bottom, trying to de-push that lane even more against that looming Dahaka, right? With that global, I think... SPT really has a mighty trump card in their hands. They can always apply pressure onto that core.
With more catapults accumulating up there as down there as well, SPT, their threat is always there. As TheOne, they grab the siege giant camp, but they don't cap it immediately. They hold it for a couple seconds. Not entirely sure what they were waiting for there, actually.
All right. So what is SPT's next move? That tribute, on the other hand, not really in a comfort position for them. Melody C, by the way, just throwing in random spears, because at any given point, if you run into that trap, if you walk into it, even Hugo scouting out all those bushes, both teams almost, you know, paranoid at this point, right? But rightfully so. They don't see what we see.
This is a big deal. Whoever gets this tribute will likely also get the boss. So if
TheOne
get this is a cursed tribute boss. Isolation lands onto Blaze. They focus him down, then they don't kill him off before the bunker. Bunker comes out and also blocks a lot of the ball lightning as we see Soap taken out as the first kill. Getting the reset. Bunker will expire here pretty shortly. Hugo, barely alive, moves back. But that is a man advantage coming in here for TheOne.
That is such a big deal. Without Dahaka, a lot of that team fighting presence, a lot of that frontlining is no longer there here. Rainer actually fighting Cassia. Not always a good trade for the Rainer. Just shutting down the holes, shutting down those access points.
Yeah. Dahaka is up in 14 seconds, but he will likely not have Brush Stalker available. Levels are still even. Interrupt from Misaka. More Lightning Furies coming in. Currently, Ancestral, the only heroic available for SPT, but the longer they wait, better situation they'll be in. They'll have Ball Lightning back, but it's the exact same for TheOne.
Wow.
Taunt is already back with the Warlords challenge.
They have to give this up, Tetcher, simply due to the fact that Hanzo, Lucky, and Melody C, they've got the superior poking, especially with that simple geometry. Those 6 scatter shots all the time. Look at Dahaka, he's back and he finds Hugo. This time, the dinosaur reigns supreme.
But the Disintegrate on the Melody C, Ancestral's good, Cocoon on Li Ming, and they're going to try and pick up the double kill. Dragon, Arrow, Ball, Lightning, Meg carries the Lightning all the way to the base.
Oh, they get a kill though.
Gets the dominance as they take out Hanzo, but Decade went down as well. Li Ming sieges in from the side, and Kieshi in a great position to prevent anyone diving him.
Tetra, I was going to say, I'm not so sure if SPT can push for this without Hanzo. They lost a lot of their damage. However, TheOne, they don't have a support right now. Look at that top lane. Mercenaries, they're already knocking on that keep, and I think they might even lose it.
Yeah, That should be dead. Actually, minions are holding it. This might be pretty clutch by Dahaka. One.
Gotta drag one.
He's going to try and pull them in, but the minions are still in the way.
Oh, they got it.
Down it goes. That's great news for the one. They are still ahead in experience. They are still ahead. They are now even. Well, they're behind in terms of structures, but they're even in terms of keeps, which means they have the same amount of catapult pressure their opponents have.
And they're ahead in experience, as you said, an entire level simply due to the fact that the late game experience, it just mattered a little more here. Now, how well is the one's map awareness here? How well is their game sense? It is only Anubrak currently bluffing that more members of SPT are already on the way, but they were not. They took that mercenary camp, and now Huhu is getting kind of zoned out by that boss stun zone. They need to wait for level 20. They can't do it.
Yeah.
Keep vision on it, though.
SPT can. Yeah, they don't have vision on it. They need to move back
Misaki,
in.
you can't get stunned by that.
Caught in the boss stun and root blaze oil sees. No boss. What? They move out. There's the sonic arrow. Spots the entire team of the one. And SPT decides, you know what? Maybe this should be leashed.
This is a constant stalemate.
They're going to get the curse, though.
Yeah, they're going to get the curse because they're global. The value of the Haka, ladies and gentlemen.
This is perfect timing for SPT. They're going to be
Dragon's
able
Arrow.
to grab that Dragon Arrow. They're committing to the engage. Where's the Haka? No, it looks like they just burned the Dragon's Arrow just to be annoying and see if they could catch someone. But in this case, now they're going to do the boss with level 20 so close.
Oh, this boss would be GG, though. The one they have to commit this. They have to spot it.
I mean, the longer they take, the more the time they spend trying to defend against this boss, the more time Dahaka's going to push up. It's a curse. He's going to be able to push all the way to keep, maybe take down that keep just while the one hover around here. But he needs to hurry up because the second 20 is hit, we're going to see the one pull. We're going to see the one pull the trigger and try to engage.
Yep, the one, they're currently caught between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, they can let this boss go through because that would be GG 100%. On the other hand, they can let Dahaka take top. They can let minions and catapults go through the bottom lane as well. And successfully, they did stall the moment here for so long. Look at those mercenaries. Golden camp here right now, keeping the middle lane clean for now. But the one, with that level 20 talent, they can actually rotate around the map and maybe have even invaded the enemy boss here in the top lane. But I think they're happy right now to take their own boss because they realize, you know what? Our bottom lane is already naked and exposed. If that boss goes through, it's game over for sure. So they take that winning opportunity away from SPT.
Well, Dahaka did weaken the top lanes, so that boss could, in theory, get a keep here. We see a lot of members of the one. Looks like they're just going to hardcore defend this boss and prevent it from getting that keep, because they know that pressure is pretty irritating. This fort is so clutch for SPT right now. They need level 20, and they need to clear up the boss. They will easily be able to do both, thanks to this fort being up, giving Hanzo something to, one, back shots off, and two, something to slow down the boss.
And Tetra, here comes the exterminative value on Raynor, right? In those situations, you're like, yep, I made all the right decisions here because that talent is going to allow them to spray down those bosses a lot more quickly than they otherwise would have been able to. Doesn't even get the keep to 50.
And this boss, will it get a single hit? No, Hanzo finishes that off. So the keep
Did he do it all by himself?
The front wall, yeah. Hanzo and the fort with them with a catapult as well.
All right. Hanzo's pretty good on Cursed Hollow, yo, for exactly that reason.
Hanzo is good in any map where there is a boss, but this is exactly what they wanted to do. They bought themselves time, and as such, level 20 is online. Game-ending heroic in the form of Contagion now as that Storm tier talent for Dahaka, as long as he can land it. Hanzo, though, sticks with Bullseye instead of going for the play of the game. So he is very much relying on Dahaka to be that global hero.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head there. They already have a global. Why would they need another one? And with that Bullseye, actually, that oftentimes can make all the difference here between landing a CC chain or missing it out. And they were so close in that last team fight to killing Hugo. If they had the Bullseye there, that would have been a one-team fight.
Good scatter arrow damage. Dahaka, who was waiting in this bot lane, they'd already cleared the camp. They were just waiting to cap it for the second this tribute spawns, and this is perfect. Dahaka's going to clear a minion wave as well, so this means that the longer SPT can delay this, the better, because this is all about catapult pressure.
And you look at heroes like Hanzo, who've got some of the best ranged poke to interrupt people from channeling in the game. Look like the lockdown comes in, though.
They get the toss. Dahaka burrows. There's a bunker down, though. There's the disintegrate on the cocoon. Dahaka sneaks away. Once again, remember, bot lane is pushing, so as long as they can keep delaying this, which they are doing with Cassia, with Hanzo. Dahaka is so separated from his team, though. Raider piles the pressure onto him. Scatter Arrow, so lucky.
Quite literally.
Right here, go into the fray. They move on to Lucky, who goes over the wall. And they actually committed to the engage. Melody C able to pull back, barely staying alive. Dragon Arrow for even more delay. The drag from Dahaka. They move on to her. The contagion hits 3 people, but the Lornado allows the disengage. But the SPT, mission accomplished. They've managed to not only weaken the members of the One, now they can try and stop the ports because the camp has made it to core.
Hanzo, by the way, that is exactly what you're supposed to do, and Lucky played this masterfully well. He always landed those abilities when they needed them to land. And look at that pressure, look at that damage. The shield has already taken all that damage. The core goes down to 68.
Mission accomplished, SPT. Fantastic delay tactics. No one died on their side. They nearly got kills, in which case that would have been game over. And they delayed the port back of the One. Spectacular late game decision making by Super Perfect Team.
Yeah, and especially if you saw Melody C's health pool there on Cassia, he took some fatal combos by Li Ming, and they almost CJZ, you can't be there. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, Rhaegar can solo a camp, but he can't 1v5 a team. So that rotation was perfect. There are now catapults grouping up onto the SPT core, so they will need to send someone back to deal with that. But this is going to be yet another denial on that curse of the One.
They had to predict this rotation at some point. The moment, you know, when you don't, at least grab the Vision Tower first, right? If DJZ, instead of going for the Mercenary Camp right away, goes for the Vision Tower first, he'll have perfect vision on that. And if they already had the vision, and then you see this Vision Tower being taken over by an enemy hero, you just get the hell out of there. You do not want to linger around and wait for Anubrek to catch you.
That's 2 curses to 2. Dahaka ported back in time to prevent any core damage going through that shield. So SPT, they stand at 100% core to 68% core of the One. They set up for their own boss, 13 seconds. The One's boss will also be up very shortly, as they were taken in pretty much synchrony last time.
Exactly. The question is, which team is going to get more value from that boss? And the answer is SPT. Why? Because that keep in the top lane already has taken damage from the One. So the question is, are they both going to go for their respective bosses? Yep, I think they will. And the question now is, which team is going to commit to attacking a base? Oh my goodness, they're not even taking it. They're waiting. They're waiting for it. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, they were waiting for a tribute, which just revealed itself. So this is perfect. Now then, we do see SPT hovering around the area. Scatter Arrow.
Here comes the poke.
Does not land. Looking to move forward. He's also guarding this side flanking area in case that is where Dahaka is, but we can see Dahaka's in mid. Ancient Blessing is dropped. This is a commitment by the One. They get the stun onto Hanzo, who gets deleted by Li Ming. Chase is forward, but Anubrek going for the turnaround. ZJZ dropping low. Isolation with the contagion. Decade is the target that Dahaka will kill off.
Dahaka is actually tearing Decker Kane apart. That means it is a 4 versus 4, but no more sustain for the One. Supports are so crucial in this late game meta. Li Ming from the flank, though. Melody C gets a full heal thanks to that Ancestor healing. This team fight ain't over yet.
It's so low. He's trying to attack forward, gets a heal, gets a blind, and Cassia will shred through the Garrosh. Maybe not. Yep, there we go. The heavy landing is good. Boss is already on the core. Li Ming had to go back to deal with it, but now it is a core all-in attempt coming in for Super Perfect Team, and they will take game number 1.
What a game, ladies and gentlemen. 25 minutes and 38 seconds. What a back and forth, but in the end, SPT, mostly thanks to Dahaka, yet again on Cursed Hollow, reigns supreme. They played this so patiently at times, and they played it so well. After losing Hanzo in that last decisive team fight so early, they re-stabilized, and they took the victory all the way through. What a display.
Very nicely done. Great execution by Super Perfect Team. The One, though, also looking very strong in that game. That was very close. That all just came down to the fact that I think some very lucky spawns on the tributes by the One. For SPT. even more, lucky, the important tributes, some great timing on the boss delays, as we already saw, making great use of that. So yeah, really solid by SPT.
Absolutely amazing. Like, from start to finish, it was such a tough game to play as well, right? From a commentator's point of view, it's always easy to say, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? They could have done this, they could have done that. But you need to remember that these players didn't have the vision that we have. So oftentimes when you saw them being super hesitant, the one in that bottom boss segment, for example, when they were running away from one Anubarak, they did not know where the rest of SPT was, and they did not want to get caught by any means necessary. So really cool to see the caution, the patience from both of those teams, because traditionally speaking, that is not something that China is known for. Normally, I think people would have expected them to just go for those team fights every single time.
Yeah. But in this case, TheOne, they played cautiously, trying to get themselves back in the game. Didn't work out in the end. But that was a great game number 1. I cannot wait to see what we get for game number 2. Also, the regular public service announcement we give out usually about once a week, maybe sometimes once a day even, that people are wondering why we are pronouncing "he" as "he" and not "he."
I'm glad you brought that up.
Because he told us. He told us that that's how you pronounce his name. It is the Chinese way of pronouncing his name, and as such, we are going to respect that. That's how we pronounce Zhuyu, as opposed to the British pronunciation would be Zuyu.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say if I called you teacher?
I mean, you'd be reading my name wrong. For starters, there's no E. There's no A, so there's no E. There's no A. I mean, technically, you could read it as that. That would be acceptable, but it's not how I pronounce it.
Exactly, and because you don't want it to be pronounced that way, I'm just going to call you Thatcher. See?
Yeah.
Problem solved, ladies and gentlemen. Science.